I know everybody's been hearing the narrative that Canelo has improved. Canelo has improved. That's what makes the Triple G fight intriguing. He's an improved fighter, particularly since the Mayweather fight, which, in my opinion, he lost all 12 rounds. But if you've been following this channel for years, you know I've been high on Canelo. I like Canelo a lot. I like Canelo back in 2011, 2012. Um, since they first started hyping him, I've always thought he was a really good fighter. But the narrative that he's improved, um, yeah, I don't necessarily buy into it, and the reason I do, he might have, he very well may have, but the reason I'm showing the video of this fight is I could show videos of the last three fights. Really, I mean, he's fought guys, Chavez Jr., Liam Smith, Amir Khan, who are tailor made for him, really. And I know Khan, showed some speed early on, and then Canelo broke him down, but we all knew that was going to happen. But Canelo has been in there with guys the past three fights that we knew he was going to look good against. So my point is, how do we really know he's gotten better? I can show you this video. I can show you everything Canelo's doing. He's doing a good jab right there. He went to the body with the left hook a couple times, back upstairs, put together nice combination punches. Defense is decent. Still the same footwork overall. I know people have said he's flat-footed. I think that's a little overblown too, but he is somewhat flat-footed at times. But, my point is I can point out all the things Canelo's doing here. He's doing well, through uppercut there. But my point is he's doing it against Chavez Jr. So how do we really know he's improved? You can look good, really good against, just look at Gary Russell Jr., how otherworldly he looked, how great he looked until he stepped up. You can look good against mediocre opposition all you want, but when you get in there with Triple G, that's a huge step up. That's Canelo's biggest step up since the Mayweather fight by far. And Cotto was a good fight, and that was a step up for him from what he had seen as well. But that was a close fight, and I thought Canelo fought well in that fight, and so did Cotto. But since then, has he really improved? There's no way of us knowing. There's no way. Canelo was on a great string of fights there for a while, with the Trout fight, then the Mayweather fight, then the Lara fight, and he fought Angulo in there in between. Angulo was tailor-made for him too. But everybody was saying Canelo would struggle against guys who can move. Canelo would struggle against movers. But he won two of those fights against movers. And then he won another fight against Amir Khan, who was a mover, but, he was a weight bully in that fight. But my ultimate point is, how do we know, and look at Triple G right there, just looking on, how do we know from this fight, and how do we know from the last three fights that he's really improved? And that's the narrative out there. And I guess my ultimate point is, don't buy into the narrative, or just kind of lay off of it. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Yeah, let's say Canelo hasn't improved. Let's say he hasn't improved. Let's say he is the fighter who fought Mayweather 5 years ago. Or was that 4 years ago? Whenever it was. I think 4 years ago. Let's say he's still the same guy. That still might be good enough to beat Triple G. I don't know. I was high on Canelo back then. But I've always thought Canelo's a very good fighter. If he's improved, he's a great fighter. Is he a great fighter? I'm not sold yet. We'll find out in a couple weeks when he fights Triple G. But for him to beat Triple G, in my opinion, he has to be improved. He has to be. This has to be the best fight of his career. I don't necessarily buy either that Triple G is not the fighter he was a couple years ago. Now, that might be true as well, but I think we need to see more. I think it was more of a style thing, the last two fights, that hindered Triple G and made him look human, so to speak. And Kell Brook didn't do much against him. You know what I mean? But Danny Jacobs was in the fight. But Danny Jacobs is a really good fighter as well. He's a good fighter. And going to the body again right there. But Canelo has already, He's always had this. He's had this for 5 years. I'm telling you. He's he's had these combinations for 5 years. He's had this chin for 5 years. He's had this overall technical ability for 4 or 5 years. Has he added on to that, or is it just him looking better since he's in there with not so good competition the past 3 fights? I don't know. Y'all hit me up and let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all buy the narrative that Canelo has improved the past couple years? Peace.